Army Geniuses, they're going to go for the Phoenix pickup, so some nice team fight coming out from their end of things. Execration, last time around, 4th pick was for Bob. They left Palos for the last pick. They may do the same thing here. Wouldn't really blame them, though, for going down the Palos route right now if they wanted to, say, take the Luna with the Brewmaster just to have that Lucent Beam and Cinder Brew combo in the lane. But then again, you know, you could probably assume AG is going to run the mid TA here, so maybe you could just get a counter right now if you wanted to as Execration.
Yeah, I think if they want to, they could give Bob a puck. The lane matchup isn't amazing. They go with Lena instead, which can still burn through Refraction with her right clicks in lane. Not too bad. You can shove out the waves with a Dragon Slave. You can melt the Phoenix Egg from a mile away. So they do have ways of counteracting the egg. They have good burst in Execration's hands. They've got a great pace to play around here. And it just kind of lines up for that aggression that we saw in Game 2. So we'll have to see if AG's ready. Mid matchup again is, I'd say the first 2 levels feel good for Lena. And then the TA starts to feel a bit better by level 3-4. AG do go back into the Ricky here. And there is some flexibility now. If they want, they can run Ricky versus Lena, as we have seen that succeed in our last series, and run the TA safe lane. So they can kind of choose their options depending on what happens. I will assume that's a DB Ricky for now, as Mamang Daya's TA is really darn good, but they can kind of swap around if need be.
Yeah, absolutely. Last pickups though. Execration, again looking for that pos 1 here. The Palos. If they really want to, they still have the CK that they could go down. I mean, it worked last game. You were against the Ricky. This time maybe against the TA, not looking as spectacular, but Sade's still pretty good. Like, a lot of stuns. Brewmaster, you could throw the stun out to pop the Cinder Brew. It still seems like a very strong combo. AG, they're gonna... Okay, they're going back to the Broodmother. Into the Sand King, John. They either haven't learnt their lesson, or that they figured out what went wrong there. What are you thinking here? Is this a good idea for Army Geniuses? I'm shocked by this.
I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on it. After how Game 2 went and how confident I was in AG getting this Wami last pick, I'm not feeling confident this time after that display. Wami has to really change it up. Maybe if the play is swapping lanes once he sees the Sand King commit, that could work. But he needs to make space. If he doesn't make space, TA Riku will fall flat. They do need initial farm, and we saw how early on how much space AG lost in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They can't afford to have that happen with the TA Ricky. They need farm. They need the defusal timing. They need a Dragonlance Desu Blink on that TA and the BKB in this game more than likely. Execration, you mentioned the CK. I'd say just go for it. You have basically almost the same lineup except for a couple of heroes flexed around. AG still has the Broodmother and Ricky back up. You can bully them the same way. Execration, if it worked in Game 2, why not make it work again?
See what happens. Execration, final pickup. I wouldn't blame them. Just go down the same route if you want. I mean, what else is there? Like, you've got the Luna. I mean, I brought that up earlier. I think it's still not too bad of a Luna game.
Yeah, and that does give you a pause one who can sort of right-click through the Spiderlings as well, although it goes against you. In the middle of a team fight, if the Broodmother does commit all her Spiderlings and they do live from the spell somehow, your glaives will be eaten up by the Spiderlings as well, so they can be like a buffer tool against the Luna. Can go kind of back and forth, but it's still good. I don't think that's going to be an issue with the Sand King around and with Lena and even the Brewmaster to an extent. So you can just kind of handle the Broodmother anyway. You don't need to worry about that aspect of the Luna matchup. They are taking their time and picking through though, digging into the reserves. Not much time left, but they go with the Luna. They just come out as you call it, and it should work out well. Like the burst on the Brewmaster with that lane is really nice. AG, I know what you're going to ask, and I'm just going to answer you. I think Execration has a better draft. I was so confident in AG having this Wami last pick, Game 2. They set themselves up for the same situation. They go back to the Brood. I don't know. I don't think it's fixed up by their different supports. I don't think they can create enough space for DB and Mamang Daya to find farm on that safe lane Ricky and mid TA in the end. Unless they somehow find an answer for Raging's Sand King, I'm not confident in this last pick at all.
I mean, in terms of Raging Sand King, it doesn't feel like there's any direct answer, quite frankly, right? Like, there's not... Maybe they struggle to hit the egg, I guess, in team fights. Not really, though. I mean, Mirana Lena's
really.
there. Yeah, you've got both kind of counters towards the egg here for the Phoenix. It's...
Yeah, like the only play around the egg is if they're clumped up close to it, you get a acorn shot and bushwhack. That's it. It's not
Sure.
amazing. And with 2 range heroes on hand, you're probably not going to catch them in a good bushwhack with the melee heroes. So the eggs, I don't know if it's going to live true here for UK. And I don't know, like all of what Army Geniuses needs to do is just harder to pull off. Execration, even if they play a slower game, they've got Luna, right? Like maybe they test their fate against 2 bigger cores on the TA Ricky, but we saw that thing back to farm distribution where you might have 2 cores that scale well into late that are equally farmed, but if the enemy's big win condition's just so much bigger than you by 1 full item, doesn't really matter. Like it feels like that 1 hero is enough to overcome 2 farmed, moderately farmed heroes and just overtake.
Yeah, how this one goes, it does seem like it's probably going to be Execration favored just based off drafts, but let's see what AG has. I'm sure they, in their minds, they may think that it was just a couple of errors that cost them that game number 2, and maybe they just kind of want to run it back and try to prove that it wasn't the drafting issues, but rather just a play issue. We'll see if they can make it work in game 3, so we do go into it. Execration versus AG, and of course, John, before we do even talk about what's happening in game 1, we should bring up some Luper odds, see what's going on over there. If I can get them. But I imagine, you know, it's been pretty much Execration favored the whole time, so I'd probably say it's going to be the same, and yeah, it's very similar. Very, very similar odds. Basically 2-1 as Mamang Daya. Same area, but where's the stun? They all kind of just ran down and ran at him, and he's like, well, who started the fight?
Interesting.
Raging went Burrow Strike as well. He couldn't get in range. BDZ had the arrow, never threw it out. Bob had the Light Strike Array, never used it. Just nobody knew what they were doing there.
Yeah, and just a bit scared. They're going to clump up around the rune now, maybe look for a wrap around, but Mamang Daya knows, bails out. They should be able to get a even bounty rune trade. Oh god, it's so the blood. Look, this is what I'm saying. The blood material is too reflective for blood. It's so shiny.
Well, why do you
Blood's
say
not
blood,
that shiny.
Why do you say blood material, John? It's just blood. It's not
No, like
some...
the texture, like the model texturing they're using. The material is way too sheeny on that one. Bugs me. Bugs me.
Fair enough. Well, they've changed it to chrome, John. There you go. Now they've polluted the river. Well done.
Wouldn't a bloody river also be like a polluted river, though?
No.
Wouldn't it?
No. Fish
So
and
you're
marine
saying
life.
blood?
They eat
but
blood.
that
What do you
much
mean?
blood? That much blood?
Yes.
I don't think they can process blood for oxygen. You know, I don't think that works that way, Mike.
Do you know how many sharks are in Australian waters, John? I mean, we've got crocodiles. We've got. I mean, I'm telling you, John. They don't mind the blood. Let me tell you. They don't mind at all.
That much. Like it's so tick. Still talking about tick lanes up top. You've got DB and UK on the Ricky and Phoenix. Of course, you are laning against Raging Potato, Sand King, and BDZ's Mirana, and they're already just going for typical play, arrow to range creep, get some damage off with Raging Potato with level 1 Burrow. He is a bit safer. We saw him get bullied out early, although.
Okay, that's a lot of damage. He is going to be able to tango his way through the tree line. Did have the Icarus dive, but it was on cooldown at the time. Still, it could... Uh-oh, arrow. I heard a connect. UK's going to eat a fairy fire, but... Geez, he's gotten through a lot of regen already. He's going to have to use his own salve on himself. That's going to mean DB's going to have to be very careful, because you won't have the salve available now for the Ricky.
Not for the likes of you.
It's down to when you force a Phoenix to get Icarus dive level 1. He doesn't have trade potential without the fire spirits, and gets so awkward. Nice arrow.
Very nice arrow from the Burrow Strike, and they're not going to get the kill, but just kind of keeping the Ricky down in HP like this is probably even better, quite frankly. Just make it so DB never feels safe to go in for the CS. As Raging, he will have another Burrow, and BDZ is going to have another arrow. So you get too close, you're going to get burrowed, you're going to get arrowed, and you're probably going to die. Like right now, the burrow strike comes out, he went for the range creep, and Raging goes for the easiest kill of his life.
First blood on the sand strikes the
Just like that, simple. UK still doesn't have level 2, so he's gonna play poke, but there are 2 fairy fires. UK might lose out here.
Oh, that... he's playing with fire, UK. I mean, one more right click would have done the job there. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they do lose RR, so you got a bit of a trade going on across the map. But that's a pos 5 for a pos 1. Certainly not favorable. However, now they've got the pos 1, and they will be able to kill off Palos.
Yep. That's a good kill. AG in the kill lead now, 2-1. The off lane, this time much better for Wami. He can handle that lane. He can kind of force the Silken Bola for harassment onto Luna. The Luna's fairly short range, and you do opt for the Lunar Blessing here. No glaives, as well. You kind of want the farm down the line. We'll see what build Palos really commits to down the line if he wants to accelerate the farm, but they aren't quite playing to the full potential of the Cinder Brew popping yet. However, Wami is fairly tanky while he sits in the spider webs as well, so he might not be the target they want.
Ooh.
It should be LYM they've gone for, but LYM's just sticking way far back.
He's mid lane, Mamang Daya right on the edge there. Bob and Mamang Daya on very low HP. Bob, he wants to get aggressive. Won't be able to go past the tier 1, but does secure the range creep deny. And it is also going to be able to take the bounty rune away from Mamang Daya, as he won't even bother. He's running straight back to the base. He knows he needs a reset.
Yeah, and that's going to give a ton of space out to Bob. Just take control in this lane. He's got a huge CS lead over TA as well. Mamang Daya just can't handle that lane. The range advantage of Lena's too much. The wave clear is too consistent. And it's just going to be tough. Like, Mamang Daya's going to need a lot of stacks in the jungle to really recover from the slow start.
And he will. It is TA though, right? Like, you've always got the jungle. We said that last game though, and Execration just kind of ran at them. And I suppose you've got to be a little bit careful about the stacks you do build up, because you are still against the Luna, who can just come in, infiltrate, and take them away from you if they do spot them out early enough. So you do have to be wary of that. And it is probably going to be based off how well our offlane's doing for Execration. And it turns out it's going very well right now. But let's ignore that, because our bot lane is going to die once again on the Brewmaster. So they kill him, I think, for the 3rd time this game, or the 2nd at the very least. Wami, I'm very happy with the way this offlane's going this time around. But top lane, UK, he's going to die to beat easy.
I think you're still happy on AG's end, just because you're getting better space out for Wami. So the Broodmother should be able to create some space now, until we see Raging Potato rotate. And we'll just have to see when Raging Potato makes that move out. Probably by the same point, level 6, level 7 on the Sand King's a good time to get that done. And that's when you can kind of neutralize the Broodmother threat. Even then, Execration still got a slight net worth lead at 1k. All their lanes are looking well. The mid matchup's working out for Bob. Mamang Daya is still sort of keeping up, but just being slightly behind like this does feel bad for a TA. Doesn't give you early damage, although RR.
Getting caught out again. He's been having a rough game already, and he has died twice, but this might be the 3rd time. So they want to try and give the kill to Wami, but no, LYM, he's going to take it himself. 4th kill of the game for this Hoodwink. A very good game so far for LYM.
Yeah, but that's a bit worrying. All the kills just going onto your pause 4. And basically, like, the entire kills on AG side is just on LYM. He is going to have a really quick timing into what looks to be his urn. He's going to have some early presence out, as we saw last time as well on the opposing side with the Hoodwink. He just needs to leverage that. Like, it does need to amount to something, because even if you kill RR, Wami had to leave lane for that. Palos still gets some space. He's still farming, so you haven't really slowed down the Luna enough to kind of make that really a big win.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Off lane, Arrow. Gonna land onto the DB. He's not gonna have any follow-up to it though. This game is going much better. As I say that, Wami's probably gonna die here, so I'll stop saying it. Bob, he's gonna get a kill onto Wami. What I was intending on saying, John, is that the early game's going much better for AG than it was last game. But then you have that kill on Wami, you look at the CS board, and, well, it turns out that's not entirely accurate.
No, I mean, I think it just amounts to what these kills are. They're kills on a pos 5 Brewmaster. It's not important, right? It's basically like a souped up Ogre Magi that has a better ult. And I think that's what it boils down to. Would you be happy about killing an Ogre Magi 4 times in lane? Not in particular. It's not really meaningful in any way as long as your core is still farming, which our Luna is. Palos is getting all the space in the world. The Broodmother's not threatening the Luna itself. And Palos, despite dropping once, he doesn't care. He has a free lane. He's farming up. You do have the spike on Wami. He does have the Broodlings up. So the spiders are going to be around. Maybe they can look to force in bot lane. But that's Raging Potato's cue to show up. So with the spiderlings up, Raging just swaps lanes. And, well, you're probably not going to get that full push going.
Nope. Certainly not. And Wami, he's seen this scenario before. This is not going to be fun for him. Maybe a bit of PTSD here for Wami. So he'll just go behind the tier 1 tower and start clearing out the creep wave that way. Seems like Wami, that the only thing he can do against the Sand King in this kind of situation is just avoid him. You farm the other side of the lane. Just don't let him get near you. The man's crazy.
Yeah, and it basically boils down to a farm trade lane. There's a clump up mid though. Looks like they want to kind of shove in this mid tier 1, and Bob can kind of hammer in early on with his right click speed. So they're gonna have to be a bit careful in this fight back. They don't have their team fight spells up on AG yet.
Palos has gotten started as well in that mid tier 1. Bob, he kind of just rushed off to Roshan apparently. I think he was chasing down LYM with the Hoodwink. Meanwhile, DB's been pushing out the top lane, so someone's going to have to try and respond to that, and it's going to be BDZ on the Mirana. Still, I think things are going very well for Execration thus far. This will be around the time where you'll start to understand if this is going to be a much better game for AG. It is really going to be off the back of Wami, though. Like, you've got this Broodmother. It needs to apply the pressure. There's no two ways about it. The hero doesn't do anything else. It just applies map pressure and just takes over. If you can't do that, it's a 4v5. And in fact, Wami's going to be very careful because Palos seems to know he's around here somewhere. And the courier's going to scout him out. Here you go, Wami. He's going to have to go for a run now. Raging's a man on the mission, though, trying to find out where he's gone. And he actually saw him there for a split second. But it may not be worth spending the time trying to chase him. And Wami, he does get away with the TP.
He saves himself, buys some space. Not much, as Palos is just down here to perhaps just clear out the jungle with that nice possessed mask from the neutrals. Always getting the timeliest tier 1 items, neutral items for every core. Still, AG, they're keeping up with the farm, which is good news. 1k only the way of Execration. Much more manageable for AG to play into. You still worry about the space being given to Palos, as just kind of left to free farm the jungle, and if you do just leave it that way, the Luna will eventually out farm a Riki. Riki does not have the same flash farm potential as a Luna with at least some points in the glaive. So Palos at some point will just have an item or two above the Riki if you kind of just let this game stay this way.
An easy shot.
DB. Trying to get his Diffusal Blade early this time around. Like last time, we saw him getting involved very early in these team fights, and it did cost him that Diffusal Blade timing. Palos can't really man-fight the Spider, and is not going to make it out with the TP either. So Wami just get a nice pickup for himself in that Broodmother. That's what you wanted to see. It's even kind of surprising Palos is around here farming. I suppose he had faith that Wami would still be sticking around the bot lane. Meanwhile, top lane, DB, they're going to try and make a play onto the Riki, but he's going to blink strike out, and he's going to be just fine.
Radiant's middle tower is
In
under
fact,
attack.
Raging, he's got to be careful, because the rotations are here. He has no burrow. There's your Sunray out. Raging's being very patient, and we'll get the burrow off eventually into UK, but now the sharpshooter's there, and Wami gets some sweet, sweet revenge
Dire's top
onto
tower
the Sand
is
King.
under attack.
The patience is paying off. RR, he does have the split, so he shouldn't be under complete threat unless he gets caught by the bushwhack.
Oh, they're going to be happy just forcing it, I think.
Dire's top
He gets a
tower
few
is under
spiderlings.
attack.
It's, what, 50 gold? Well done.
Yeah. Very nice. Still, this is a much better pace for AG. Finding the punishment on Palos does open up that bottom lane push, and they can start to clear that out. Of course, their top is being traded away. Bob with the DD is going to just melt that right
Dire's
through.
top tower
So it's going to be a 1-for-1 anyway, and Raging is back up.
He is. He's still going to be very careful, though. Epicenter, going to be just pump faked here. Spiderlings, though, have already done the work that they needed to. That tier 1 bottom tower is going to drop. Raging not really going to have the tools to really be able to take them out. He'll just leave them be. And now just a very slight net worth lead here for Execration. They are still leading in terms of the net worth board right now. You do have Bob and Raging at the top. But it's certainly not as much of a disparity as it was last game, which is certainly good news for AG.
Yep. And they still have a lot to play with. They are very close. I think the diffusal for DB is flying out now. So the Ricky does have some power to join in. The Dragon Lance is up in Mamang Daya, just saving up for the Deso next. The farm pace is pretty steady. And eventually, once the TA is all set up, you can look to make plays. They've even got the egg ready. Their mid-tier 1 stands for a little bit longer compared to game 1. They just have to ensure it stays that way and keep hunting Palos. Your big worry is that Palos gets more from the jungle. The smoke is immediately broken by RR, though.
RR can try and TP out. LYM should have a bushwhack. No! He went for the acorn shot. He didn't go for the back tree. It happens, you know, sometimes without the Aether Lens, you don't feel like you have the range. It does happen, John. We're not all perfect.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity, but again, they've killed RR like 3 times, 3 out of 6 times in their total kill board. It wouldn't have been the biggest kill. And I think, again, there's smoke already popped. It's basically just trying to salvage a bad situation. Overall, it's a missed kill, but I don't think you mind too much considering that you wanted something bigger anyway. They do switch lanes out for Wami. He's starting to play mid, and Execration starting to group up around the mid. Raging already has the blink up. With a Vanguard, they can make something happen here.
See if they can. Move in. Trying to get that nice blink reveal going. UK, he's probably going to be the one that gets caught here on the Phoenix. And yeah, he's going to break the smoke, and that should be enough for them to just settle on the Phoenix and just take the kill they can get. They'll even get the Courier of UK as well, and they did have a Sentry Ward and a Fluffy hat on it, so a bit more value. And on top of that, they are going to find a nice DD rune now. Very, very nice. That should allow them to just secure this mid-tier 1 tower for free.
It's a nice fast push, and the right clicks coming out with Aluna and Lina is pretty darn high, especially when you max out that blessing. They are just going to check the Roshan, and Raging actually starts it. AG, they have the egg ready if they want to jump in somehow.
I think it makes sense, right? Like, you've got the Luna Aura, you've got a DD rune on Bob. You know they can't really fight you that well. Like, you're trying to force them to rush in to fight. They will bring the Spiderlings in, but they're going to be pretty much cleared out. BDZ, he almost dies to them, but not quite. And now Raging, he has moved in onto LYM. Do they have enough control? Not quite yet, but Bob, Dragon Slave, Laguna, no, none of them's going to fly out. There's your dust set on LYM, but he's still just fine as Wami. He actually ended up killing off BDZ. Now DB, they've got no detection for him. Epicenter, though, will finally get the hoodwink. But in the meantime, he kills off UK, and now Wami is going to move in onto the Luna. Do they have the damage? Yeah, they will this time around. The Meld Strike and the right click from DB was enough.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And AG, they do not let the Roshan go. In fact, you never know, they might try to get it themselves. But Raging's still around, and I don't think he's going to allow it.
Yeah, it's just let them know that the Sand King can gap close, and I'd say that's decent enough punishment from AG. They lose their 2 supports, but they find the Luna. Not too bad. You do want to slow Palos down. He is the bottom core right now in terms of farm, so the Luna's not able to use the jungle as well as it wants to, and AG can try to keep building up. Like, the damage output from Mamang Dai is already good. Once he finishes up this Deso in about 100 gold, it's going to be even better. So you just want that done here, and you can maybe look for more on the map, but you got to be careful with where you poke out. Raging is still looking for that opportunity to get the bigger Burrow Strike Blink combinations off with the Epicenter. And Execration, even after that last fight, they're still staying clumped. They're still hunting.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Top lane Wami is under vision right now.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You know what Raging wants? He's not going to get him, though. He only got one, and even that one gets out. Wami being very, very careful about his Spiderlings escape.
Big change up from game 2.
Radiant's
Better
top
micro
tower
coming
is
out,
under
respecting that caustic clear out. Still Execration. They are sort of split up now. Bob and Palos are playing down bot. Speaking of them, Palos is pretty close to finishing up the Manta. About 1,100, 1,200 gold off, so just needs to save a little bit more. And the stats will be there. The self-dispel is going to be very helpful against the debuffs on Wami if he does decide to run down. AG, for their part, are also starting to gather around. Maybe with the Stesso up and Mamang Diet are going to look for the smoke play, and they will go for it.
AG. Sentry's down. They're going to reveal the vision. Who have they found there? It's going to be RR, but he already got the primal split off. Instead, Burrow Strike in from Raging, and he's going to get the epicenter. They've dropped the egg, but it's not going to matter because the arrow was there to follow up onto DB. And now onto Mamang Daya and LYM they go, but the Bushwhack and the Sharpshooter to try and turn, but no, it doesn't even land. The Burrow Strike avoided all of it as Mamang Daya. He's trying to fight, but he just can't. LYM, Wami. Well, back out. Raging's still having a look around. He does find LYM, the Bushwhack. Gonna hold him down for a bit, but he does have the Blink Burrow. He just doesn't see the Hoodwinket, so instead he'll go after the Broodmother. Bob, Light Strike Array does land. They don't have the follow-up though. The Sunray from UK is gonna keep Wami alive. They'll move back in though now that they've seen LYM on that Hoodwink. But he's gonna scurry out, or maybe not. The Burrow Strike. It did land. Won't matter though, because now AG, they're ready to fight back. That's going to be it for that team fight, it seems.
Dire's top tower
Yeah,
is under
AG losing their pretty big heroes there in that exchange. Not the ideal. They couldn't get the smoke rotation they wanted. Brewmaster is not the first target you want to go for. If you don't manage to silence him, he's going to split up, and then the team fight, the smoke is just broken apart. You really want to catch out, I think, the Lina or even a Mirana. Lina, Mirana, or Luna is probably your best bet. Maybe you can catch a Sand King out, but Raging Potato's positioning has been fairly disciplined so far. He's just hanging way far back with a blink. He knows that he just needs to jump in to set up for the team fight. Bob's being sneaky here, though.
Yeah, DB. It's following him down. Or rather, Bob is following DB around, but he won't really pursue all the way. The Roshan's still up as well. You know both teams are just kind of eyeing it out as you've got these two Roshing lineups that can just take it down so darn quick. DB gonna go in after BDZ, but he's very quick with the leap. Eventually DB just gonna have to back off and not risk his life for a Mirana kill.
Yeah, they're playing a lot safer in AG's side, being more disciplined, not giving big openings out to Execration. That is the change. Raging, though. BD spines him.
Yeah, Raging, he's a little bit asleep here. He's still going to be okay. It looks like he's got the burrow. He'll get to the low ground, but the Icarus Dive going to be given the vision. So DB can finish off the kill. Just kind of probably, you know, looking across the map, seeing what's going on, and didn't realize he was actually being pursued by the side of Army Geniuses.
Radiant's courier
It
has
does
been
happen to the best of us. You know, sometimes you're focusing elsewhere, thinking of the macro game rather than the micro, and you lose sight of your one hero micro. It does happen. They do manage to find a tier 1 here on AG's end, not the biggest target, but there is a Moonlight here from Execration without the Sand King, but they might catch someone out.
Yeah, LYM. Still a nice pick up on the Hoodwink if you can get him. Or DB for that matter, who stuck around. He did not see them. Light Strike Array does land. LYM trying to help, but the burst damage is way too high. And they even got LYM in the Tornado. Stun is going to connect. Light Strike Array is there as well, but it doesn't actually land. LYM still going to have to just try and run. With another scurry out, maybe he can do it. Bob. Not going to be able to find him. LYM, he makes it out. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Wami is going to die. Palos. Palos and Raging, they do catch the Broodmother.
scanning.
That's a lot better. Execration,
LYM.
they managed to kill the big chorus, and
They scanned him out. They know he's there somewhere. But he's going to have scurry again. He's fine. They're not going to pursue him any longer, I don't think.
Now, I mean, might as well just go for the tower. Bob can still just right-click it down. There is enough time for the TP defense, though.
Yeah, DB's in. Bushwhack is going to connect. Bob, he's going to get bursted. Speedy C, he just leaves the building. He's like, no, I'm not staying here to help you, sir. Every man for himself. I'm out of here.
Tower is under attack.
Yep. The smart play, as there would have been enough follow-through from DB to kind of get that done. There were leap charges, but you don't want to risk it on BDZ's side. Nice kill to go the way of AG. Drags the lead down to 2k. So it's not a massive amount, as you are still seeing Mamang Daya be top of net worth, right above Palos, and DB right above Bob. So all the cores kind of in a good spot, except for Wami. He has been the more sacrificial brood, but he's already got the full pipe up, so you should be feeling all right. Good deny down mid on the tier 1. No gold going the way of Army Geniuses. The side of Execration, and they're still building up. Daedalus is going to come out for Palos, not too far off, and then the Ag Shard, the typical Luna build we've seen all day. He can just spam his Lucent Beam from a mile off, get some good crit damage off. AG, they're smoked up, but they got broken in the Roche pit again by Raging.
That they do. Roshan pit, Mamang Daya, do you want to start it? The Raging just checked. He may not assume they're actually doing this. But now Mamang Daya, oh, he's getting bashed by Roshan, which is a little bit frustrating for him. Arrow's going to help the cause, though, as now DB rushes in. They're going to try and force this. Primal split, it may be a bit too late. He's going to try and make it in time, but no, it's too late. Mamang Daya's got the Aegis up. Execration, they might get punished now as RR. He's only got one Bruling left. Burrow strikes there. Raging going to try and save the day. A nice arrow again on the Ricky. They got DB. Mamang Daya, he's been left alone again. Or maybe not. You've still got Wami there on the spiders. BDZ gonna cop a sharpshooter. They got Raging down. This TA hitting very, very hard. And Palos, he also got caught out. They might get Mamang Daya's Aegis, or maybe not. It'll survive as Wami now. He's gonna keep the chase up onto BDZ. There's no mana or leap charges left. Tips are out for UK as well, and they just wait. They sit there for a bit. They think about what they did. Then they'll take the kill.
It looked good to start for Execration. UK dived into the arrow, couldn't get the egg off. And then the chain stunts looked really nice, but the damage output now coming through from AG with Mamang Daya is just too high. They don't manage to get the initiation they want. They get punished. AG turned the lead their way. 1k, very slight net worth lead, but they do finally have some momentum in this game. Execration, if they see the Roshan like that, they need to commit faster. They hesitated for a long time. They did not have the greatest vision on the areas around Roshan, though. So maybe they just weren't aware that the full commitment was coming. Bob being chased down a bit.
Yeah, he's in trouble. He's going to try and work his way out of this, but now Wami, he's going to be on the chase, and yeah, he's got the bullwhip there. He's got the slows. It's going to be a bit of a painful experience for Bob as he does pop his BKB, and he's going to try and TP out, and might just make it. And he does. Very nice.
Yep. Just wasting some time from Wami. Not quite getting killed, but they forced the BKB use, so it's down to 8 seconds. That was his 9-second charge on Bob. Fresh BKB. Not quite the first use you want, but it does save your life, so I guess you'll take it. Side of AG, Daedalus almost up for Mamang Daya, so his damage is about to skyrocket. Raging.
He's fine. Loot bet odds completely even at the moment, by the way, John. Very, completely even. Just exactly the same numbers. So a very close game, and I always like to check Dota Plus to see what they think when the odds are even. And right now, it is actually still favoring Execration. So there you go, 61% their way. Is Raging now. He may have been caught out. He's going to try and Burrow Strike away, but they've got the vision with that spawn Spiderlings. And they're onto that tier 2 top tower. Dota Plus, you start to ask yourself, is it updated yet? With the way this game's going.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Maybe not fully, but I think Execration still has the win conditions lined up. I mean, the Daedalus is up on Palos. Bob has been sitting in the BKB. Again, he wasted the first charge, but he's going into his own crit stick as well. However, the damage output from AG is skyrocketing. Mamang Daya was not slowing down, and they're looking to really make use of this Aegis. They want the high ground.
Man, it's not going to take long either. Like, you've got those Spirelings doing so much damage along with the Desolator from Mamang Daya. Smoke screen down. Bob, that is a lot of damage you're taking, so he needs to back the meld strike, though. It kills BDC. BDC, he's a victim of Bob's mistake. Into the tier 3 tower they go. Tips are out. Mamang Daya, he'll keep going, but the backdoor protection's going to kick in. Ara almost loses his own life. There's your sleeping dart out as well. They've got the biggest target. Epicenter though, Raging. He's going to pop it straight away onto Mamang Dai. But oh my goodness, that meld damage is just huge. And Raging, he will die another time. No buybacks as that top Rax is going, and they're moving in. They're going straight after Palos. There goes your Luna. RR, he's in trouble now. He'll also drop. At least he has buyback, but he doesn't have Primal Split. We are in a 2v5 scenario. Tier 4's under siege now. You can make it a 3v5 if you want, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. There you go, they'll buy back as Bob's in trouble. Bob's been caught out again by the sleeping dart. He'll BKB, Meld Strike through. RR, he's in danger. Bob's in even more danger though. He's going to drop an RR. He's going to drop as well. This game looks to be very over, John. And it turns out it wasn't a draft. Maybe a few misplays in game 2, but AG, they're going to run it back and they might just get it. One more tier 4 and the Ancient's exposed, and I can't see a defense happening now with one Brewmaster.
No. Raging's gonna be back up, but the Ancient just melts too fast, and they call the GG Army Geniuses. The team to qualify through Bet Pro Series 7 Execration. They're not out of it, but now they're gonna have to play that lower bracket up against MY, and we saw MY. They are a force to be reckoned with as well. They're a bit of a wild team. So Execration now has to test themselves against that. And AG, I think they had a great game 1. Game 2 looked a bit weaker. Game 3, I kind of gave up in the Broodmother. And Wami just turns it around. He plays a lot smarter. He runs away from Raging Potato. And they just get the farm going for Mamang Daya and DB. We didn't see Execration play as fast as we expected them to. They didn't invade the jungle. They didn't stop Mamang Daya and DB from farming up. So the TA and the Ricky did manage to farm enough that they were just a force to be reckoned with. And this time around, it was Palos just getting caught out in some spots he shouldn't have been in. That really opened up the game for AG. So props to them. Very well played. For Execration, I know it's been a bit up and down since they've had a roster change.
Yeah.
Like Bob being in and Raging, it's been a bumpy road. I think for a team like this that went to the majors, that had a decent, surprising run in the DPC, it feels like they've got something to prove as a lineup. So we'll have to see if they can prove that in the lower bracket, but they've just kind of cut their chances short here.
Yeah, I mean, final days of the closed qualifiers tomorrow, right? We don't have any more closed qualifiers after tomorrow. So exciting day coming up. See who the last 2 teams are going to be that qualify through to the main event. For us, though, John, that is going to be it for tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. It is MLP Dota and johnxfire. We'll see you all again, same time tomorrow, for some more great close qualifiers before we get to the main event. See you then.